In that matchup between LGD and Virtus.pro. After 108 games, we have just 2 more to crown a major champion, only one of which has won before. Virtus.pro trying to make it 3 out of 3 in terms of major championships, whilst LGD still determined to become the first ever Chinese team to win a major. And Mineski, also the first SEA team to win a major as well. Lots of questions to be answered today over our 2 series, a best of 3 and a best of 5 to come. And the 3 best panelists you could expect to start off the morning. Good morning, Lacoste, Blitz, and Cap.
Good morning. You know, I just realized while we were actually sitting here and you were doing your intro, this actually harkens back to the original TI, this final 3, right? You have one CIS team, you have one Chinese team, one Southeast Asian team. A little bit mix up, right? Where it was the Southeast Asian team in the lower bracket. Instead, they're in the grand finals already. So it seems like things haven't changed too much after all.
What goes around comes around. That's what Justin Timberlake told me.
You know what I figured out? If Virtus.pro wins another major, they're going to be the new OG, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't count the TI, which you're supposed to count the TI, I'm told, as a major, because it is a major, it's the major, I guess, then OG did win 3 in a row, which Virtus.pro could emulate today by winning 3 in a row. No one's won 3 in a row this season anyway. But yeah. It's funny how it's only a select few teams that have ever won a major. Secret, obviously, in there. OG in there. Liquid played in lots of those finals as well that season, didn't win one. And now Virtus.pro, right?
Only 3 teams?
And then outside of that, who's won a major?
Well, it's kind of crazy to think about. It's very
Isn't it
top
nuts,
heavy.
right? That's absolutely
We've
crazy.
had a lot of majors, too.
Yeah, a lot more. We've got 4 more for the end of the season, so there's still some chances for China and SEA. But this feels, Cap, like the best chance either region's had of producing a champion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, it's a little bit sad that the CIS region and the Southeast Asian regions both kind of floundered for a while there. They weren't really able to produce a really top shelf team. And now we've actually got an opportunity for both regions to maybe be able to represent and make a very strong placing, if not winning TI as a whole. So
yeah.
Just a pretty cool story.
Small case of probably the best team in the world to get past in the lower bracket. They looked a bit shaky yesterday, Lacoste. Went a game down, and suddenly you're thinking, woof, maybe Virtus.pro don't get through the lower bracket now.
Well, maybe you. I mean, I was expecting it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected them to bounce back, but a good performance in the end to come through. Because a sign of a good champion is one that wins when perhaps they shouldn't win, right?
Yeah, I feel when VP decides that they need to win the game, like, okay, we are 1 game behind, it's time to go full. We need to give our 100%, and you can just feel it. Like Ramses, when he played the Live Stealer game.
In the last game? Crazy,
I just want to win.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, definitely had a determination coming out of the screen, that's for sure. It's our first game, obviously. We're waiting for them to come out onto the main stage, Will. LGD, though, how much pressure is on them on home soil trying to get to the grand final?
The crowd goes silent when they mess up.
Does,
it is just dead in there. Like, I look around, feels like nobody's there. When they make any sort of good plays, you can hear the crowd. They get some momentum. You can tell by that, I think. But at the same time, like, I think there's enormous pressure there because you want to perform in front of your crowd. It would suck if you couldn't at least make it to the finals. Like, they're going to have to cheer for C team or a CIS team? Like, you can clearly tell it's a little bit biased. I'm okay with that, though. I think, like, the hometown crowd stuff,
of course,
it's always going to be entertaining and more it's expected. Yeah. Like, whatever venue I go to, like, if I go to a C region, they're going to root for Southeast Asian teams. Like, remember Ohio when he showed up at the last second to ring for Secret? Like, they went off for him, and that's how it should be.
I think
it's the same around the world. I don't see any. I mean, I hear about this whole bias crowd thing. It just sounds ridiculous to me. It's like saying that crowd at Manchester United, they keep cheering for Manchester United. That's terrible. It's like, what do you expect?
Yeah, and I think another pressure is actually maybe a little bit cultural or something that I hadn't really thought about it too much. But when Jack brought it up, you know how in all these Chinese tournaments, there is going to be a Chinese tournament or a team that drops out early. They always do. And then they just leave, right? And Jack said a part of it is like embarrassment.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it's like, so there's concept of like honor and there's embarrassment in there. And so I think they're, especially on Chinese soil, these teams have a lot more pressure on them.
Yeah, but they're nationalistic, right? That's,
some of the other
fine.
teams. Yeah.
You know, you go to TI, you hear the USA chant every time a team plays
and
that's
then
got an
you- and
American
then-
in, or
and
even
then
a
it's-
Canadian in as well.
And
One
then in
American
TI, you hear
team.
the mocking USA chant from the Chinese crowd. I was absolutely one of my favorite
like the
moments at
eHome
TI.
versus
eHome versus EG. USA chant. USA. USA. EG totally messes up the Chinese side of the building. USA. USA.
Well, you can only
Oh,
hear
that
it
was
during the group
fantastic.
stage, right?
Yeah.
In NA because they don't get through.
Let's not
Nice.
forget TI5 there.
Hey,
Lacoste.
Yeah.
Hey, we had that
Never
one.
forget it. TI5.
Chances of an NA winner this year?
Low.
No, Optic is getting better. EG's pretty decent, and the best NA team, VGJ
Yeah,
Storm, hasn't even shown
I
up.
like how you to think about it. We were like, is it Thunder or Storm?
I was like, VGJ. I was like, how do I flame Jack? Is like, if I say Thunder, no, but VGJ Storm hasn't even shown up. Tomato, the gang.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're that rising star. They've
Yeah.
only just now started to qualify for events.
Just at the right time. There's
Yes.
2 more minors.
They didn't care
and 4
before,
more
Paul.
majors. No,
Yeah.
why
Jack
not?
was like, I'll just show up to events. You
just
guys will be fine.
Ignore the fact that they lost to Immortals for one of these qualifiers.
Yeah.
It's not a
Look,
big deal.
look.
Honestly, Immortals top tier.
guys,
But
calm
if
down.
they
okay?
win 4 majors in a row, VGJ
They
Storm.
don't even need 4 majors. Like, there's 5,400 points. That's all they need, right? Is to
Yeah.
qualify for sure right now. And that number's going to go down after this event. So actually, they only need to win 2 majors out of the last 6. That's pretty straightforward.
I know my boy BSJ is probably making a team too. It's like all the points are on they're suspect right now.
Now also there's a blue Pikachu.
Yep. There are a lot of good standout NA
Drunken
up and coming
boys.
teams.
All right, we're going to turn our attention towards our first match of the day and introduce you to the 2 teams in the lower bracket final.
Welcome on stage, LGD Gaming. Welcome on stage, Virtus.pro.
Well, they already have many crowns this season, but it seems that Virtus.pro have another one right now. They're looking for another major championship, although Solo seems to be wearing the crown already. As far as he's concerned, he's done.
Yeah, the pink princess himself.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, he's like emotionless. He plays like a robot, and you can see him even with that pink crown. It's just a killer face.
Yeah, he's just having a bit of fun out there. These two haven't matched up that often, actually.
Nope.
Just 12 games between them ever, which seems extraordinary for two storied organisations in Dota 2. More recently, it's actually LGD. They've only played once on the DPC as well, which again just astonishes me when you think of how many times teams meet each other, how many tournaments they've been. They've only played once. It was at MDL, and LGD came out on top. The previous meeting before that was at TI7, where Virtus.pro won 2-0. So
Yeah.
it's not. We don't really have much to go on between these two in terms of styles and history.
I would argue that we have actually nothing to go on, basically, because they've only played one best of one with the current rosters.
Yep.
And even that one roster, they had Artstyle standing in for MDL, right? So they haven't even matched up against each other full strength yet. So this is the first time in a lower bracket final, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. How do they match up, Will, in your opinion? Different clash of styles, different ideas?
I think that they're both pretty aggressive teams. LGD, I think, favor farming a little bit more than VP do. Like, they are more willing to let things go late with Ame, whereas I think Virtus.pro, like, the best style that they utilize is just getting aggressive, taking the team fights, and having a ton of catch. You saw, like, the mid-series adjustment that they made against TNC yesterday, where they're just like, okay, we have to just kill them. We can't let them rat us or anything like that. And I feel like LGD matches up okay against that because they're also looking for the 5-man. They will draft these gyrocopters. He'll adjust his game builds depending on how it's going. So I feel like it's pretty even overall. Like the core positions are like across the board. Both teams very good. Ame maybe on one hand, Resolution or not Resolution. Noan and Ramses on the other.
Yeah, I think actually for me it's like I think Noan and maybe the ones who match up most stylistically if they give Noan one of those space creators, and then maybe is most often going to be a space creator in these games, excluding the few times that they have actually give Ame like that disastrous gyrocopter OD game where they both spent a lot of time farming. But most of the time it feels like those two mid laners are that laning phase is going to be really interesting to watch, and then the space creation that happens going into the mid game is also going to be a lot of fun, very aggressive, and then the offlaners are also very interesting matchup as well.
Yeah, LGD doesn't play as fast as Virtus.pro does. They prefer to farm, secure Ame's farm, just go into the late game, while you have Virtus.pro who pretty much wants to fight all the time. As you mentioned that game against the TNC yesterday, they lose 2 heroes and they decide to take a fight 3 versus 5. That's pretty astonishing. Oh, wow. That yawn, huh?
Ame's got to wake up. They're going to need him. They need him to probably be a little less farmy and a little bit more active than what we've seen so far in this tournament, due to the fact that Virtus.pro are willing to make those adjustments and just be killers, run at you nonstop. Ame, with his playstyle and how AFK farmy he can get, he has been caught out a number of times in series past, and I could see it happening here as well.
Yep.
Okay.
I expect them to help Chalice a little bit more on the lane, because Ame will farm up anyways, especially if he plays the Terrorblade, he catches up, so they should play, maybe makes a lot of space for the team, so they should play around Chalice, probably just get the dual lanes for him and secure his farm.
Yeah, it's funny actually, because I was going to bring up the 2 offlaners in this particular matchup, because they don't seem to have got an awful lot of love. We don't seem to have talked about them that much. They're quite quiet players, they just get on with what they're doing, but how do you see the offlane matchup?
I think Pasha is really versatile in the sense that, like, he can play these tinies and carry you, but at the same time you can just completely sack him and not worry about him. That's the best part about Pasha, I think, is you don't ever have to worry about this guy. He's almost always going to just have a consistent game. He will fit the need for the rest of the team. Like, the other team sometimes might be geared towards farming or going for the mid game, but he's like, whatever you guys need me to do, I'll do. I'll be that utility person. Whereas Chalice, I think, this guy is a very promising offlaner. Jack told me that he was highly coveted after the shuffle, after TI and all that, and we can see why. He's very stable. Very rarely does he have a bad game. Like, when we look at his net worth, he's almost always still in the top 5 regardless of what happened. I feel like both of these are like more the stable offlaners. Like, you know what you're going to get out of them. They're not going to make like the old 11 high risk, high reward sort of plays, like it's going to be a little bit more along the lines of what you'd expect out of an offlane game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing about it, isn't it? I mean, that's why we don't talk about them. That's why they haven't come up on the show very much, is because they haven't had those spectacular games like, you know, an Ice 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 has or Samael has or whatever. They just don't deliver. They're not that style of player, are they?
For me, it's like I think Pasha is actually probably one of the most improved offlaners over the course of maybe 2 years. Looking at him 2 years ago, he didn't really stand out to me that much. I think now he's easily top 5 offlaners in just the fact that he is very versatile and they can fit so many roles. But the thing is, I think Chalice can be very similar to Pasha, but we've only seen a couple of faces out of him so far. We've only seen him being sacrificed in lane quite a bit. They never really enable him a whole lot. They never try and give him a strong 1v1 matchup where he actually has an advantage. I've only seen like maybe 1 or 2 times he's gotten a 1v1 matchup, and they've like pretty much always been bad. Like earlier we saw the Abaddon versus Underlord, which is naturally not great. So I think that we could see more out of Chalice, especially since, given in his previous teams, he also gave us different faces that we don't see at LGD. For example, he was very aggressive at one point in time. He liked to play a lot of Clockwork, a lot of Batrider. And here we see him more often on those team-fighting, slower-paced heroes like Abaddon and the Underlord.
Yeah. Will, you pointed out the net worth. Obviously, that shows up in the graphs, but also his kill participation. He's much more involved, it would seem, than Pasha.
Yeah, because they play different heroes. Let's say Pasha, completely different hero pool than Chalice. He plays that Pugna, Doom, which Chalice doesn't play. He plays a lot of Sanking, which LGD doesn't pull off. They tend to go for this blink initiating heroes most of the time on Chalice. If he doesn't play, let's say, an Underlord, so that's where the kill participation comes from.
A lot more lane shove and like solo pick-off opportunity that comes out of Pasha.
Beastmaster as well.
Yeah, a lot more team fight from Chalice.
And Chalice's Clockwork against EG was like one of the best things I've seen. Because making that hero work in the offlane is really hard nowadays. You have a hero that relies on just like constantly getting kills. And even his team fight becomes less and less useful because everyone starts to pick up 4 staffs in the mid game. Like they'll just prioritize it. And so your game becomes really difficult to play. It's not easy. In that game, I think he had to cancel black holes half the time, or he had to find the troll and just suicide dive in. Like heroes like that aren't easy to play because they're also really bad in the laning phase. So when he plays a hero like that very well, I know that this guy is a good offlaner.
That's a good point. Turn our attention towards the draft, Lacoste. We saw some very interesting drafting yesterday from Virtus.pro. They had to make some big adjustments in that second game, almost like they had some sort of oracle ball that they looked into the future and went, yep, this is going to be a TB game, so we're going to draft a Doom.
Yeah,
and they're good at that.
Well, that's their secret weapon. Like they have a Doom which counters a lot of heroes that are in meta at the moment. I think that the best way to play against VP is to have a good vision heroes, so you can shove out the waves quickly, and then you can play your own game. Otherwise, they're just gonna run at you. The problem is also that solo gets a lot of observer wards dewarded. So this is basically a Sansheng against Virtus.pro.
Yeah, they got crushed yesterday in the warding battle against TNC.
Yeah,
like they were so good about that. Even in the games that they were losing, TNC made it a point. They always got deep aggressive wards out, and they were almost always dewarding. In that regard, you kind of know what to expect against a team like VP because they want to place deep aggressive wards, make sure that they spot your smokes. That seems like that's the priority, so that they just don't get caught unawares.
It allows them to be able. It allows them to be able to play that style where Pasha can go out and be that solo offlaner and shove out waves because he has these aggressive wards, seeing their rotations preemptively.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that at this tournament, Lacoste, haven't we?
Yeah. One thing also about the wards, how VP plays, they always smoke and they're always one step ahead. They always place. If they want to take tier 1 tower, you always have ward behind your tier 2 tower. Pretty much always. So they're always prepared for the next thing that comes after they crush the tier 1 tower. So one step ahead always.
Yeah. Is that a difference, Will, between the top teams and the teams just below them? Is it that they're not just planning the next fight or the next objective, they're actually planning 2 or 3 steps ahead?
Yeah, and a team like VP, like it's very clear, especially like we don't talk about warding enough, but a team like VP, the reason why they succeed is because oftentimes they get these wards down. You'll see games and you'll say, like, why does it never feel like VP gets caught out? Like, why does it feel like their cores never get caught out? Well, it's because they have really good wards at all times. It's similar to like how TNC played at this tournament. Whenever they got into an advantageous position, they would play such aggressive wards. Like that series against EG, where their Nyx or it was the Mineski versus EG series, where they had like a Nyx assassin or something, and he was almost always able to place really deep aggressive wards. Like that shows you in Dota, like the best teams are always going to be placing the deepest vision so that they can spot your movement out, they can predict things as a result, and make plays based on that.
Yeah, we talk about the vision game a lot, actually, more recently as well, in terms of heroes, but you're right, we don't talk about wards nearly enough.
Yeah, it's like when you go and watch the games, teams don't just do things on random. It's also going to be vision-based. That's why, as a concept, we always talk about lane shove, because that's what allows you to get the best wards down, unless you have these bounty hunters or Nyx assassins. And as a result, that's how you make good plays. It's never random. It's not just that they're outthinking you. It's you're able to eliminate sides of the map that they can potentially be. If you place a really deep ward into top, and you never see anyone leave into that area, then you can automatically assume that they can be one of two places. And you're often going to farm out one side of the jungle very aggressively. So now it limits it to like 1/3 of the map. And as a result, you can decide to make smokes off of that.
Yeah, which is where LGD come in. They also like to be able to get a little bit of aggressive vision. They oftentimes were picking up the early pick of the bounty hunter, right? And they made really great use of that in a lot of their games.
Yeah, we don't talk about smokes, I think, a lot. Smoke is a killing tool, but you also prepare a vision as well. So if you can place down, let's say, 2 obs wards just for the next move and get a kill that you want on a core, that would be ideal.
Okay, I'm hearing that we've got some network issues on the main stage that they're trying to fix before the teams get into the draft. So why don't we take a look at our social media questions? We haven't had a chance to dip into that goodie bag too much so far over the last couple of weeks. So let's take one now. Should there be a gold buyback available for couriers?
No.
No.
I mean, I guess I just don't know how you would really balance that.
Yeah.
Like, isn't the gold buyback for couriers just buying a new courier?
No, because you would want the item that you could potentially have lost on the courier.
Yeah.
So like,
That's
let's say you
being
have,
balanced.
Yeah, I think that part of it is like when you're a team that's ahead and you can ward the enemy team's secret shop and like snipe their courier when they're trying to get items. I think you should reward map control.
Yeah, it's like, how would you?
And
You
who
would
would
be
pay
like,
for
oh,
it?
20% of the cost that's on the courier. That's the
Yeah.
cost of the buyback or something. That feels like very awkward. I think there should be a reward for being able to make those kind of support plays, right? Those are usually
there was a
cores that do
rapier
that.
on there, and I lost it, and that's a big deal. And now I can buy it back for 20% of the gold. That sounds great to me.
Doesn't it just drop on the ground?
Yeah, Divine
Yeah,
Rapier
it probably does. Yeah.
So
yeah.
question for the community. Give me a good fourth item that Roche drops.
A good fourth item.
Yeah.
Right, okay. You want another item, really? Isn't it not bad enough that it drops 3 on the
No,
third?
I think Refresher Shard.
What about like a mech pipe combo? Like a
Jesus.
one-time use mech pipe.
Just the team has a BKB for 10 seconds.
Team has a BKB.
The team.
Just
all
kidding. That would
5?
be OP, man.
Wow.
I mean, even the pipe and
The pipe mech
pipe
combo?
mech would be
Here's
OP.
Sounds a
here's
little
a
absurd.
relatively outrageous suggestion, but still, I think, discussable.
Okay.
How about you're able to destroy each other's secret shops?
I don't like that. Because then where would you get
then
the
they
items
would,
from?
but they would regen, obviously, same as trees do.
No, but like
you could take it down.
you couldn't. So then the enemy team just can't.
Can't buy certain items for a certain amount of time.
I
I
absolutely
feel like
disagree
because
with
of
that.
the introduction of shrines, there's already enough advantages to be able to hold the map, right, and be the aggressors and be the one in control. So I don't think you need to add one more thing where they also take away your secret shop.
Also, question for
I
the
was just,
community.
I was just looking for Vici Gaming to have something else to take down before they go for the actual end of the game. That was all.
I wasn't even listening. I was just, someone else answered the question.
All right. Shall we? Did you have anything else to add?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
Why don't you have a bow tie and why don't I have a
you
jacket?
slacker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good question.
I
I
don't
didn't.
own a bow
I
tie.
wasn't gonna wear my jacket, but they said the white.
Your bow
wasn't.
tie is really
wasn't-
nice, by the way.
Thank
I
you.
think your bow tie is the
yeah,
best
you guys are all
I've
bow
seen.
tied up.
My
Yeah.
bow tie.
Yeah.
I was very happy
Will,
with this
you
bow
are
tie
a
when I got
slob.
it.
You are a slob, William. Sort it out.
I don't own one, so I can.
You don't own
Don't worry.
one?
I don't own one.
We've probably got
Papa will
spares
tell
between
you.
us.
Papa will teach you how to wear a bow tie. Don't worry, I got you.
I'm gonna learn how to tie a tie one day as well.
And iron your shirts.
Yeah, there's things on the list. I ironed.
There's a bucket list.
Who's
Yeah, there's
been
a
doing
bucket
your
list.
ties recently when I haven't been around?
Uh,
Does Austin just do them now?
At
or-
TI, it's either you and there's this guy that works at Valve that used to work in the military,
Okay.
so he knows how to do them.
Okay. all
And
right.
otherwise, I always just go for I always like ask Ted or something. Like anybody who's a father is just like instantly I know.
Who ties
or
your
anyone
shoes?
that's been in the military, by the way.
You know, I legitimately used to dye
Slip-ons.
his shoes. He would just walk around with his shoelaces down, and it would just bug the hell out of me. And I'd be like, William, tie your shoes.
I'm just glad the draft has begun
And he
because we
wouldn't do
can
it.
get away from wheeled shoes and lack of socks and lack of ties and what have you. Let's get serious, ladies and gents, because we are in the draft for game number 1 of the lower bracket final between LGD and Virtus.pro. DPC points secured already, but still a whole bundle of points available to both teams, and of course, a trophy and a championship at a major. Here we go.
So they're going to ban away the first big bounty hunter that LGD does quite a bit. The other hero that they most often have been picking has been the Tusk first pick. Of course, it's going to be VP, though.
So Chen is still in the pool. X-Nova plays a main Chen. Yeah, they don't want to let them have it.
Do you take Tusk here?
And then LGD would have to
No, you take Tiny. So then does LGD take Tusk?
Tusk like gyrocopter
Tusk gyro.
here.
Yeah.
I think they'll go for something different. Maybe more of a slow-oriented lineup against the Tiny, but I know they prefer to have Beastmaster in the pool when possible. Also, this is their go-to hero, especially when they have a bounty, which I think is really weak. They had this lineup bounty disruptor, which in my opinion is really weak, and you can easily punish it.
He's still wearing it.
No, he put it on. He didn't have it before the draft started.
I see. Well,
He's going to find it difficult to keep it on with his headset, though.
the
unfortunately.
response used to be they would go for Troll. That was what people have been really liking against the TB, but I don't know how they feel about first doing Troll. So it is in fact the Tusk that we expected LGD to take.
Yeah, so kind of that's a block pick in a way.
Yeah, but I like that LGD took the Disruptor away from Virtus.pro. That hero is way too good for solo. Like he makes way too many plays.
By the way, that crown that he's wearing is an LGD one.
Yeah?
10 seconds remaining.
Oh,
It is.
shout outs to the brand.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, you know a meme's going to come out of this if VP actually lose.
Yeah, but I like it.
That's good.
It adds some stakes.
Yeah. Don't you actually like Disruptor versus Tusk? It felt like it was actually the VP who would oftentimes draft the Disruptor against these Tusk openings. A
Yeah,
lot of times.
I think VP just really liked the Tusk though.
Turn to ban.
And it's in fact LGD that banned the Witch Doctor. Maybe VP go for something like the Lion then?
Yeah. Has been used before already. They've played it twice so far here at DAC.
Good at being able to deal with the Terrorblade in multiple ways, right?
Yeah.
Removes illusions.
I mean,
burst
there's
damage.
also Pagna 4 Pasha, which is really great against the Terrorblade, so LGD might remove it.
It's the other one that people do. Abaddon. That's I think that was Secret's response to that hero. Not sure though.
Also, Beastmaster still in the pool. They'll have to have Terrorblade matched with
LGD's turn to ban.
Beastmaster.
I think part of the reason they did the ban though, right, is they gave Fada enough space to be able to get the Radiance. And I'm not sure if EP would do that with Pasha. I think right now, at least, I'm feeling more like this tiny
10
offlane.
seconds remaining.
Yeah. What if LGD do something like if they see the tiny response, they go for something like a Void, and they do ban the Troll,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
counter to the TB. For LGD, we've seen them do like this offlane Void a lot of times for Chalice. It's a good counter to how the tiny works, but you're not certain what position the tiny is in yet. So you might just grab your 4th position here. Wait to see a little bit more of LGD or a VP's draft.
Yeah, they usually put the tiny on no one, but it has been
10
played by
seconds
Pasha as
remaining.
well.
5 seconds remaining.
So what are the 4 positions that we're thinking here for LGD?
Virtus.pro.
Earth Spirit.
turn
Our
to
Spirit's
pick.
still out there.
Oh, they just straight up Underlord. That's the early Roshan too.
Yeah. That feels really good with
LGD's
Terrorblade as
turn.
well, just eliminating the damage.
And it is in
Okay.
fact the Lion,
Yep.
the 5 position that we expected from Virtus.pro. It just feels like Solo is going into this like wheelhouse where he just likes 3 heroes right now, Witch Doctor, Disruptor, and Lion. Lion is very good against the Terrorblade, the mana drain. You're like one of the few support heroes that can actually do something about the illusions.
And all the really aggressive
seconds
agility, timing-based carries that I think match up
they
okay against Terrorblade, they hate Underlord
Yeah.
here. So I think LGD guarded themselves really well. It really protects the Terrorblade pick a lot.
Why do you think they've gone away from the AA pick, Will? Because that was quite popular for Virtus.pro for a while.
I think it's just not like a fast enough style.
Yeah.
Because things that people don't know, but solo is not a passive 5 position that's going to pull and just sit in a lane and secure the lane. What he likes to do is he likes to snipe couriers. He wants to sit mid, try to get ganks. He wants to be as mobile on the map as possible.
It doesn't feel coming in and ganking with cold feet.
Yeah, you don't feel the same presence of that. Although AA would have been excellent against LGD's heroes.
Underlord, one of the better heroes against the Tiny because it's percentage-based damage, and they have, I'm gonna call it a cage, so they have a bit of malice and Disruptor's cage as well, just to keep them in place. A lot of zoning tools. I'm not sure about the vision game. It provides some with the Thunder Strike, but they need the position 4 hero right now.
So what if what if you just played this pretty fast? If you're a Virtus.pro, you already have the Tiny of low cooldown heroes. You just pick up the Lifestealer against the Underlord in laning phase, and then you've got a carrier with the Tiny. You've got the like kind of heavy burst damage that can just like get on top of the Terrorblade and blow them up.
I'm okay with that, but it depends on like how greedy LGD gets. Because if you're LGD, you want to be able to fight 4 on 5 if possible. You want to take an early Roshan for Chalice.
Does the ET work here?
On the side of LGD?
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think it might be a little bit too reactive because you already have the Underlord.
Virtus.pro's turn to pick.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Dark Willow. I think the problem with the ET would be the Snowball is really nice. The Tiny doesn't really care because he doesn't get stunned up for full duration.
Lion's one of the better supports against Willow in general because he has that Earth Spike, so Dark Willow won't be able to TP. Also Tusk as well. You can use the Snowball.
There it is.
They're counter to the TV.
Yeah.
They just straight up doom.
So now they've got leaving their last pick for maybe no one. I guess it depends on what the mid matchup is going to be.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that Doom wasn't
10
second phase
seconds
banned by
remaining.
LG alongside the Troll?
No, I think the Witch Doctor ban is fine.
Okay.
It's
5
really nice
seconds
against
remaining.
the Terrorblade. It's one of the best at dealing with heroes like Underlord because the Maledict just destroys them.
Virtus.pro's
I guess they
turn to
then
ban.
split the difference and say we don't want Bane and Doom, so we'll accept one.
Yeah.
I think they're also okay because they have this Underlord. They do have that escape mechanism. It's not
Yeah.
quite as good as like the Wisp to be able to just relocate someone out once they get doomed, but
What about a hero like OD for
10
VP?
seconds remaining.
it's a classic anti-Terrorblade and
LGD's turn to
anti-Underlord hero.
Oh, nice call. They do end up going for the Lifestealer.
So you're not afraid of a Sunder. I guess that's why they can go for Lifestealer because Terrorblade will be doomed most of the time.
Yeah.
It's a Radiance
That's how
hero
they
as
played
well.
it yesterday. Yep.
10 seconds remaining.
So the LGD still need their
5
mid hero.
seconds remaining.
It's good against both Lifestealer and Tiny.
Yeah, and Razor and Viper were both banned out.
DK.
Choose
DK it
your
is.
hero.
DK feels kind of though. I feel like Ramsey's going to be nice. No one will have a pretty good matchup against maybe.
I feel like they're just going to run out of damage. His tankiness is quite nice versus like Lifestealer and the Tiny.
Yeah.
Like they have a hard time going on him with his high HP and armor, but it
And-
feels low damage.
They needed a hero though to like frontline and take fights early.
What? They got Chalice playing Dark Willow.
Ooh.
Is
So that's an offlane Willow.
Could
or
it be?
they're just swapping roles
Yeah,
because he's a
maybe.
Dark Willow
Yeah, but I
player.
was thinking, is Underlord good enough to be played on position 4/5?
Well, I guess we're going to find out because it might well be that they've shifted that into either a different lane or a different player. Predictions.
So
Cap.
I think they're going to be low on damage. The Dark Willow does give me hopes for LGD's lineup. I'm just not convinced it's going to be enough for them, so I'm going to go VP here.
Okay.
I think VP will be aggressive enough in the mid game. They just have to secure the early Roshans. But I will go with VP.
Do I have to go for LGD now? Or
Yeah,
what?
do it.
Nah, I prefer Virtus.pro's lineup. I gotta say, the tankiness that they have with the cores, I don't think LGD has enough burst damage to take them down.
All right, okay. All three of our panel members have gone for Virtus.pro in the opening game of this lower bracket final. A reminder for you at home, this is a best of 3, the winner of which will go on to the grand final and face Mineski. Time to head to the arena with Toby 1 and Kyle for game number 1.
That's right, it is lower bracket final time. Winner gets to go to grand final. I'm Toby One here with Kyle as we're doing a zero fucks given VP draft against LGD, who were mixing it up a little bit, but don't worry everyone, Underlord is in fact the 3-position core offlane. They switched it back.
I actually have to disagree with the panel. I think LGD's lineup has a really good shot at taking this game. It's just all going to be about the laning phase. VP puts a heavy emphasis on last picking their cores and giving them favorable lanes. And I feel like LGD's team fight's just so strong if they're able to just avoid a huge doom from Pasha. And I think this Lion Lifestealer lane has to be punished, and I expect them to run up here with at least 2 heroes, because if they leave Underlord on an island, it's going to be a struggle.
How do you actually think about like Doom getting that initiation in? Like, how does he close the distance every single time to hit that Terrorblade? Like, what's the items, what's the abilities, what's the position?
I mean, at some point, it's Blink Dagger, right? You're just going to be able to blink in and doom him. The thing is, they also have a Lion, which is like the go-to 5 support to counter a Terrorblade. Your mana drain instantly kills illusions, and TB's base HP pool is just so low that Lion can kind of just blow you up.
So you're actually thinking maybe the Doom focus is a different target in the fights? And is that Lifestealer just side running a tree? Oh, he's in the middle of a taunt.
Yeah.
He's doing the breakdance taunt. What the hell is with his face? Is his face just like completely sideways wrecking itself?
I think the hinge is broken on his jaw, too.
The quivering jaw.
Such an uncomfortable word. It's almost as bad as moist.
Quivering?
Yeah. It just sounds strange.
Okay. I will keep that in mind to trigger you later during the cast.
Please, no.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come during one of the fights. All right. Let's talk about draft a little bit longer as well. The Dark Willow pick, as far as like the order going, we were tossing up a lot of other options that LGD could go for. Like, how do you feel like she actually fits in against the VP draft?
I think it's one of the best heroes to play up against a Tusk, because you can fear on top of the snowball very easily. It's also really strong for heroes that run at like increased move speed like a Doom, because if he hits him with the fear, he's going to haste away and then be nearly out of the fight completely. The LGD lineup is all about making sure their cores can go in first to protect their Terrorblade and their spellcasters. The Disruptor always gives you this bonus kill at the end of a fight, but they need to be able to take out a core. And the way VP likes to play, they have save thanks to the Tusk. Solo's always on this just spellcasting 5 hero, run around, place some wards, no big deal. But the 3 cores are always super tanky, and they itemize very well. And if they're able to get in, they have the burst to kill anybody if they use all of their spells in conjunction. Either a tiny combo with a little assistance from Ramses or Lion, or just a Doom +1. And that's like the style of VP, where if you look at their heroes, it's all this 1+1 concept, where any 2 heroes will be able to land a kill almost 100% of the time.
Man, look at that Chinese money for the Terrorblade. Only one not there for Arme. 3 hero reflections.
I mean,
but his wings are pimped.
If it is his hero, if there were an Ame hero, it is Terrorblade. His style is a lot more farm focused than a lot of the other ones in the meta right now, and that is like the go-to hero. It's what I would classify as a game winner, where it doesn't really matter, and you can hear the crowd. They're slightly behind the home team.
Yeah, and rightly so, though. Like, we were having this wonderful debate earlier as well. And I remember, I can't remember who was having that. I think it was Wind who was having that argument with me yesterday. It's like, who actually should win this? And he's just like, it's VP, hands down. I'm like, why? Because Liquid's already out. The second these teams, there's only one team that could beat Virtus.pro, and that's Team Liquid. And then that ends up.
Do you know what I think that is? It's really that Liquid's the only team that matches VP's confidence. They picked Lifestealer last pick into a first 2 Terrorblade, which is something you won't really see any other team do. But they just have so much confidence in their heroes and their ability to win any game of Dota that they go up against teams that they just don't believe in themselves in the same way. And it's very easy after a long time with the same players, some losses, you're not willing to first to a gyrocopter over and over. You maybe don't want to go back to some hero that lost for you in the group stage. But VP, as you said so eloquently at the start of the draft, just doesn't give a fuck.
They really, really don't. But it's also one of those dangerous things as well. Like, it's a momentum-based team. Because I can agree with the whole, like, Virtus.pro would technically win this entire tournament if they win the lower bracket matchup. And I don't want to take anything away from Mineski, but I feel like VP, once their teeth are out and they've actually started to warm up for a day, they're even more dangerous than they normally are. So game one, this is the best opportunity for LGD to gain that confidence, to try and actually stick it to Virtus.pro. And if they can claim that before VP really wake up, then they're going to be looking very good. Solo with a double stun. Chalice was still able to actually grab that bounty rune, and with the rain, they're doing as much damage to Ramses as possible. They do not want to let this lifestealer get big.
This is actually a pretty decent matchup for LGD. They also got the ward down in the camp, so they're going to be able to pull creeps pretty easily.
Roger walking into the middle of Arme as well as X-Nova. They're going to go for the Cursed Crown, but Arme's walking over to harass Pasha instead, so it's up to X-Nova to keep the battle going with Tusker, and Roger knows that this is not what he wants to take. The stun's already been used, so it's a straight TP home to regenerate.
It's actually really nice for him because they blow the meta. So they trade a teleport for a meta, and he has boots, buys tangos, now he runs back down to lane, or even roams. But it's really all about blowing the meta, because now Doom can lane very easily for like the rest of the waves.
Yep. And X-Nova's not really going to be harassing him out. Like, he's got Cursed Crown at level 1. Without the Metamorphosis to like dish out the damage, then the Cursed Crown doesn't do as much.
Yeah, it's something the VP supports do very effectively. You can even see Solo up top doing the same. They just trade their HP to help their cores lane, and they have some of the best solo laners in the game.
Solo is potentially dead. Ramsey's in the neighborhood. Actually, the damage from FY is not going to be enough. In fact, FY's TP out, the stun! Yeah. Solo turning around just at the right time, and FY, he thought he had it. He committed for the extra attack, which brought him in range of death.
Yep, and there's my point right there, right? Solo just trading effectively, and it's a choice where FY is either going to commit and potentially die, or he's just going to let Solo walk away with 70 HP, and FY will be forced to do the same. And as we've seen in previous games, Lifestealer will always beat an Underlord left 1v1.
Yep. And this is Ramses too. Like, we've seen him time and time again, like, beat the entire team just by himself. So it's nice to see LGD at least identifying this. Ramsey safe lane Lifestealer, when VP first started having a lot of success, this was the go-to hero, and everyone's like, man, he's such a beast in the late game, but how does he always get so strong into that late game? It was quite a simple thing. He just sat there, and he was so difficult to kill. You could rotate 3 heroes in, and Ramses would always be the man left standing, no matter what happened. And it comes through the power of what you're talking about, the supports. These guys will always create space for Ramses to work, but he's also just such a great player.
It's the same you see with Liquid. All these two teams, I think Liquid and VP are the best at it, just understanding when they're dead and how to use their remaining lifetimes most effectively. And you very rarely see VP's supports like choke mid-fight, like, oh, we're in the process of dying, we'll just panic, not use our spells, use them randomly. They'll always be thinking and pre-planning, even in panic.
I think FY is hoping for a courier snipe in mid. He managed to find an Invis rune. Walking into mid lane won't help us much because sentry wards are already down, so no one is being more defensive. They're realizing he's running out of consumables, but he's waiting to finish the Soul Ring. That's why the courier hasn't come just yet. Chalice on top lane, Solo and Ramses are around him. They go for the stun, Rage up as well. They need a secondary controller through the open wounds, but Chalice is still pretty damn big, not to mention that plus 30 damage he's got. Solo, there's only so long he can keep this fight going, but you know, here you go once more. Doombringer can die in the bottom lane. Chalice, FY, trying to help him out. Solo will back off.
Yeah.
But down that bottom trees, LGD. That's that combination you're talking about, Metamorphosis plus the control of Dark Willow.
Roger actually blocked him in the trees. Doom should not have died there. I was actually going to comment that they had played it very well, where they knew meta was coming off cooldown, so Roger went to pull the creep wave back to ensure that they would have to use it ineffectively. Unfortunately, the shard block ends up getting Pacha killed, and meta used, but, you know, could have been better.
Makes it 1-1, keeping things nice and close. This top lane is keeping both supports very, very close as well to their cores.
Yep. This is how you want to play it if you're LGD, because Underlord, when he's not threatened by a kill, can just crush this Lifestealer because he's hitting for 100, Lifestealer only 50. So it's a lot easier to lane with double damage.
And they're actually wrapping in. Here comes Solo. He's already claimed up a couple. He's looking for the support. He can set up over on Chalice, but Ramsey is in no position to fight. Not just yet.
Slight downside of Lion. You're relatively weak in the laning phase. FY also choosing for that Orb of Venom to start with really helps out in a 2v2 lane. Those two items, Uv and then Bassi, but neither team with a Bassi.
And Rogers just got so heavily zoned.
DD on X-Nova.
Yeah. He stole that away because it was like Tiny was looking for something like this.
This game's actually looking really good for LGD, and I like their draft if they can maintain an even advantage. And the big advantage that I like is that they have the Underlord,
shard block,
which gives them Roche.
But then again, back into the Shadow Realm, and then TP away to safety, the Snowball. Roger, he went over towards Arme, getting the rolling stun. So X-Nova's TP does not complete, and they move over towards the Doombringer with the Cursed Crown. Rotation in from FY. Pasha wants to take this crown, do as much damage into Arme as possible, but there's just nothing else to give. FY claims the kill over on Pasha. He doesn't have a leveling glimpse, so they cannot bring Roger back.
The other thing, VP's lineup is very single target heavy. A lot more AoE and sustained damage on LGD. So if they ever get an Aegis up on this Terrorblade or the DK, they can all of a sudden just find fights at all times. And with Doom down on VP, where do they actually get a team fight?
They're going to try and fight up on top lane. So the stuns, the open wounds, not the perfect chain, but Roger's TP in. It's LGD's turn to lose their off-laner with a 3-man rotation into the safe lane of one team. Chalice, okay, well, just sustain a hell of a lot, but still, Underlord, #1 CSer, now down.
Yeah, but look how much damage he had done to Roger. He TP's in, already loses 600 HP, so just a great example of don't just die, be useful, help your team.
Luckily, there's a shrine for them to use, and Dragon Tail stun in mid. Disruptor. Level 3, only has that 1 point in glimpse.
Yeah. It's going to be a really value shrine now. They're going to wait for the Tiny. And they see the, if you see the ward just placed as well by VP on the top lane, it'll give great vision for Ramses. And now this is where you can kind of just leave him alone against the Underlord. The supports can look to rotate, maybe kill him under the ward, or just move elsewhere.
Well, Roger's watching it. It also lets the supports contest the bounties. In Solo actually stealing the top bounty rune from LGD many a time.
Yeah. Roger on a warding mission mid now. No DK form, so no one's not really that threatened. But the key thing, I mean, LGD winning all their lanes.
Yeah. Apart from maybe top. I feel the top is a little bit more balanced now. Thanks to the fact that also Underlord just leaves the lane. So he's totally left Ramses alone. Pasha, bottom lane. You've actually got the Cursed Crown out, not to mention the Bramble. Very difficult, in fact, impossible to escape for Pasha. Arme bringing in the deeps.
And this is where the game kind of breaks down a bit because neither offlaner is able to stay.
Cool glimpse. Solo, he was trying to contest Chalice. They had the vision up, but now 3 heroes from LGD. Quick rotations. They really want these kills, and they're claiming them. It's still only 4-2. They're still looking for the bigger cause.
They do see FY on a warding mission.
Got a smoke mission too. Solo and Roger together. They're heading down south. I think they understand the timing when Arme's ult is going to wear off. Pasha's really low, limping away on the bottom lane. And this may be enough confidence for Arme to move out forward. Is this going to be really bait? They go with the Hadouken into a snowball. Arme, you know he's going to get stunned up by that Earth Spike. And where's the TP support? It all went towards the top lane previously to try and get that kill onto Solo. Making all the space in the wall on bottom. But top lane, Ramses really low. He needs the creep wave and infestation, but he cannot reach it. The Firestorm comes from Chalice. And LGD, what they finally wanted, either the safe lane or the mid lane are dead, they got.
Most importantly, they get the tower. So important to take this offlane tower, especially against Lifestealer. VP really wants Ramses to just sit there, farm, whether he goes this Medallion Radiance build, which it looks like he might be going, or the Armlet, it doesn't matter. You want him to just sit against an Underlord and deny that lane from LGD, but once the tower dies, he doesn't really have an easy place to play, and you don't want to put him in the offlane.
No one stalking mid. He found himself a double damage rune. So I think he was just hoping that Dark Willow would move up the lane with the creep wave. He's got a little bit of help because Roger's in the neighborhood, so they'll see both Arme as well as X-Nova. So with Arme here, it's just not worth the fight.
I mean, you can see they take a triple stack on the hard camp on their way out. They leave this nice ward above the easy camp, and this sort of just changes the laning phase a bit, where all of a sudden Ramses is unsafe if he crosses this line, and all of a sudden you have a level 7 lifesteal that's going to be farming a Radiance for the next 10 minutes. LGD is free to make moves around the map every time Meta and DK form are up.
We just watch those counters then. 16 seconds till Meta is back off cooldown. DK form's got half a minute.
Meantime, it's all about the Blink battle. No one going to be rushing a Blink after the Soul Ring. Looks like Somnus is going to do the same. Maybe switching to a Shadow Blade in his quick buy as he just did.
Palace and Nova. You drew the line previously. Ramses has walked over the top of it. Solo's in the neighborhood just trying to farm up some golems. He actually caught a glimpse there for a moment. It's enough, however, for Ramses. He's just walking into the middle of the fight. Virtus.pro, they're bringing in the numbers. Chalice just wants to get the hell out of here. Burning off the ultimate. He's turning for a Firestorm just because he can. Going all the way back to base, so why not expand the mana, and LGD are bailing out. They are not giving the fight this time. In fact, actually, by bringing the rotation to Virtus.pro to the top lane, they've exposed Pasha on the bottom. Disruptor is wrapping around through the back. So again, this Doombringer, even with the high movement speed and regeneration, he starts his TP. No way! Yeah, no way he gets out of that.
In the meantime, Ame going for the max illusion build, so he's farming about as fast as possible, opting to skip the Sunder, which is part of the reason he died bottom earlier.
No one's right on top of him. He needs friends, though. He can't do this alone. It's a 4-3 combo. He only went 1 point up in the tree throw, so the nuke is nice from No One. But without Roger there, Roger's still only level 4. Like, he can snowball in and potentially go into Ame, but that won't be enough. So instead, it's the bottom lane that's being pressured. With the Dragon Form still up, LGD will take the Tier 1 tower. And Virtus.pro is starting to lose more map control, and they're starting to lose the economic battle.
Yep, this is the power of LGD's draft. We've seen Underlord DK win a lot of games at this tournament. Underlord opting to go for the Vanguard first item. I might have preferred him to go for a mech, but if he buys too many support items, all of a sudden he becomes the Doom target, and then he just gets completely negated, and all of a sudden his hero's useless. So
but this is the way, like the Chinese build their Underlords, right? Yeah. Like it's Vanguard, it's mech, it's Greaves, it's Pipe, it's all of this jazz.
But I imagine they just switched the screen to net worth. Whenever LGD sees all 3 cores on the top of your leaderboard, you got to feel good about that.
Yeah, they should be feeling very happy. It's a 4K overall net worth lead as well as experience, so LGD in a very comfortable position in this game. All they have to do is maintain. Have to remember that we haven't really felt much of the combination. Ramsey has not moved off this top lane. He's going for Radiance. This is a slower type of build. So LGD are keeping the pressure up, but it's also a different style of build. This should be the death of Roger. Glimpse back into the storm. But this is support's getting information for Virtus.pro. I'm wondering just how much this is going to be worth it for LGD when it appears the VP are going for the later sustain kind of thing. Like until no one's got a Blink Dagger, I doubt VP are even thinking about being aggressive. It's just batten down the hatches.
So he actually just finished a Shadow Blade, which is a far better item for scaling purposes. And while, yeah, it's just a support, if you looked at the bottom lane, it's in the tier 2. Mid lane, still pushing for LGD. So they have map control and they're finding kills because VP really doesn't have the tools to make anything happen until no one gets this Blink Dagger, still 300 gold away. Lion's still not level 6. Like, they don't actually have the ability to take a fight because their draft is so single target focused and the supports aren't yet in the game.
LGD.
This is a great smoke.
Pushing to the east. They can do a full wrap around. They have a reserve award, which is watching the Doombringer, so they can make sure that this Doom will not be part of the fight, or they can have the smoke broken. No one gets the double avalanche and the shards into a double stun. Somnus and Chalice, they're trapped in, so they know they have to keep fighting. They put down the pit. Maybe Storm can create enough space from FY. It has done so. VP sitting back behind the tower. They're getting rid of some of these illusions. That's that mana drain from Solo. It can slow down the pressure that is the Terror Blade. The slowdown is it. It won't stop it. The tier 1 tower is falling. The shards from Roger don't do enough fortification, but it's just buying time. Virtus.pro are already leaving. There's 5 heroes in mid from LGD. They do not want this.
And you can't fight them if you're VP. Look at the team fight control. All they need is a choke point. You throw down a pit and a bramble maze, and all of a sudden, VP can't go in.
Visible under the tower, using that Shadow Blade to try and close the distance on no one, but couldn't reach the Dragon Tower range.
Yep, it's these cheap AoE team fight abilities from LGD. You just completely negate the VP ability to initiate and roll through, and that's what their whole draft is built around doing. but then there's a pit, there's a wave of fire, they fear the fear. Disruptor, kinetic field, like there's so much, and then the whole time there's just a Terrorblade waiting behind it. So even if you can get through all of this bullshit on the ground, there's a DK now. There's the final boss of Ame, and I don't know how VP wins a fight.
VP can't, especially when things like this happen. Their smoke, their 3-man smoke they just did, was underneath the Radiant Observer Ward, and LGD pinged it instantly. They are fully aware of this, so they use their own initiation. Ramses has to rage. He has Infest available, gets back close to his creep wave. The storm is perfect. Pasha locked in the Cursed Crown. He uses his regeneration with the one charge. He will survive back underneath the tier 2 tower. And that armor of 3 thanks to the heavy numbers of Virtus.pro, and no one, the blink, tossed back, they're looking in for Somnus with the finger of death. Doom even came out in that point. They really wanted that kill, Virtus.pro.
Yep. The whole time though, Ame just farming, bottom lane, Chalice doing the same. And they, as you said, they invested a lot into that kill. I think VP feels a lot of pressure to make things happen, but that sort of move is really their only window into finding kills. They cannot take a head-on engagement. They need to look for these tossbacks or the dooms and the pickoffs.
Yeah, get a kill on a core, buy some more space, buy more time. Ramses is now at 3.6k gold. He's been having that gradient in his quick buy forever, and he's even got a man to just watch him. So you can terrorize him back. Lifestealer on the run, but Roger's in the neighborhood. Here comes Jiglin, Snowball, saving, goes for the creep wave, holds Ramses in close. They have to start splitting, however. The Cursed Crown, Ramses, it's fine. He'll rage it off. Roger is happy to die. Somnus running underneath the tower will turn around for the kill with Breathe Fire. So Dragon Form down. Metamorphosis has been burned as well. LGD, they're pinging Roshan.
Yep, and it was a great setup, though. They go for the fear into the glimpse because Lifestealer will be unable to rage, but a good snowball from Roger would have negated that anyway. They still get the 1 kill, and this is the power of Underlord TB. You run straight into the pit, even as Radiant. All of a sudden, that 1 kill is now a Roche instead of just walking around in a circle.
They're not fully committing as in all the players in. Somnus went inside the Shadow Blade looking for just that one hero just to contest from the north. TP in from Tuskar. His shards would be the only thing that could slow this down, but they come a little bit too late, holding him inside the pit. But once again, look at Somnus. This guy is so on the point looking for kills. Anywhere, anyone could be. He's chasing them down. He saw no one up in the trees. No one. He's got blink in 3 seconds time, and they'll back off the chase.
Yeah. Good play from no one, though, to Quelling Blade his way through. I don't think they would have caught him even if he continued chasing.
Solo needs to TP out, like right now. He's going to spike, and he's being surrounded on all sides. Took the range creep, and then get the hell out of dodge. Somnus is coming in. He still hasn't TP'd. He's juking more in the tree line, avoids both the bramble and the wall. So great space creation by Solo.
Man, Ame has just been farming, though. That's the issue, and he's already going for the BKB, it looks like, after the Sanjin Yasha. I think LGD recognizes that they're going to have this really strong timing when all Lifestealer has is a Radiance, and they'll have a pipe on the Underlord. So Ram's damage output is going to be a non-factor, and they're going to be relying on killing 1 or 2 heroes with the Doom and then the Lion Tiny combo. And if they can't do that, it's... LGD has a lot of damage and a lot of cheap spells. Their team fight is so strong.
That's 2 smokes in a row that Virtus.pro have done underneath the Radiant Observer Ward. And they're approaching what is the entire team of LGD. And they don't have the numbers. Instead, they jump in through the back, but so quick! On the fingers, you can glimpse back no one. He actually gets a little bit more space out of this, but Somnus try to reduce it. Solo, a 2-man stun, at least keeping 2, both Chalice as well as Ame under control. No one can't get out of this one. He's got 17 one charges, the Avalanche into a TP. Maybe he can get out of it. No! Pulled back in by the glimpse. Oh yes, FY claiming that.
Look at the trio of wards VP had in that area. They still aren't really confident to take a fight. Down bottom, Ramses does have the Radiance finished, but I just fear it might be too little too late. The power of LGD is so strong, and they can just push. And they need 1 pickoff, and all of a sudden they can stand with all 3 cores on high ground beating into a tower.
Yep. But this push is even stronger now. Like Ame only just burned Metamorphosis. He's pushing the tier 2 tower in mid. The tier 2 tower on top is being attacked up by Somnus, or at least the creep wave is. And Lion as well as FY having their own little battle. FY couldn't get the vision to glimpse him back. So Solo's TP will be successful. But the tier 2 tower is lost in mid for Virtus.pro.
They did use the meta. He's just going to go bottom to farm now. Ame going to continue to scale. I believe they might. Oh, we have a replay? Yeah. So look at all the vision that VP places. They don't have Ramses, though. They're actually just making this play as 2 heroes. No one in solo trying to make a move, but they just chase down no one. The glimpse came off cooldown with maybe a fraction of a second available. So he actually gets the TP out, but is still glimpse back. Ends up dying in the pit.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then no one's TP. Boom.
Oh, it's so close. That's why you have quick cast on Disruptor players.
Oh, Virtus.pro is their smoke turn. 4 heroes together in front of the Roshan pit. Underlord is coming towards the mid lane. He's looking for a denial on the mid tower. So Chalice, he's actually not doing it. Somnus the dust. They have it available. And it's the DK once more. Finger of death being committed. Virtus.pro.
Yeah. But look at their lanes. Look top, Toby.
Yeah.
Tier 2 Dyna creeps mid lane. There's an Underlord there. Like, yeah, they get a nice kill, but it doesn't give them any objective.
No. It's just more and more space. Like, Ramses will deny up the tower. Looks like X-Nova will do the same thing. Finally, that mid tower is denied. So all tier 1 towns on the map have been dropped. And Virtus.pro only have 1 remaining outer tower, which is the tier 2 on bottom.
I would have liked to see LGD do a bit more with this Aegis. They're going to just let it tick out. Only a minute left. Maybe they make a play with a meta, but I think they just get this BKB on Terrorblade. Maybe they look for a play, but I feel like their draft is strong now. You don't want to give VP more time to get their core items up because they've shown that they will win team fights with good Doom play and a combination of really strong cores as well.
Yeah. Do you like Ramses' build as well and going for this Ramses into Solar Crest direct? Like, this is one of the very few times we haven't seen Armlet or SNY like on Lifestealer.
I think in this game you need to build the Radiant.
Oh, Solo instantly breaks the smoke. They drop down the storm. Solo can't get himself out of the storm, however, so... And there's still going to be LGD smoke being burned. They popped both Crimson as well as Pipe, too.
Yeah. That actually could be a good opening for VP. They have certain tools now. They have the Doom.
Solo could just TP out to the Shrine if they're going to fight this on the bottom lane, because that's where LGD is pushing. They need vision on that hillside.
No Disruptor ult either, Toby. This is risky.
Yeah. Ramses with a Radiance and fresh Solar Crest, looking for a fight. Pit's already being committed. They got a quick little glimpse, but Pasha is fine. He's actually got the Frost Armor too inside of him. X-Nova is in the better position. In through the rear, looking to throw out. At least gets the Bramble to begin with. They got the stun. Ramses, he's been terrorized away. Rage won't help him through this. Infest pop out, just sustain once more, but so does the Crimson Guard. How they do the damage, they're beating into Chalice. Roger, he has to stay inside the Snowball. The Cursed Crown's gonna hurt him so hard, but they've already found 1 kill. Virtus.pro still fighting against the tier 2 tower. Ramses barely living. It's a 1-for-1 trade off the life swap. Arme back to full life, Solo to 0. Pasha, he had the vision. Glimpse, they just keep chaining kills one after the other. LGD. Thought it could have been a good fight for Virtus.pro, but it was not.
They got the BKB off on Ame before the Doom, and all of a sudden they can outlast. And all they need to do is survive through this initial wave of VP's abilities. Once the Doom and the Fire on cooldown, the Tiny combo down, there's no real ability to follow up and continue dealing damage. Whereas LGD, as long as the heroes stay alive, who died? It was Chalice. They don't care if Underlord dies. They're going to keep glimpsing, keep DK stunning, and in the meantime, Ame's just terrorizing the backlines and just crushing people with damage.
Yeah. This one I just wonder, like, do you actually have enough damage out of Virtus.pro? This build from Ramsey doesn't make him that all-powerful hero. We can watch this fight once more. And Chalice...
Look how much damage the Doom takes before the fight even starts. Just a hit into a Glimpse wave of fire. He's at half HP. And you can see the positioning from X-Nova on the side. They get vision. Look at the Bramble Maze. Ame's going to get caught here a little bit, but he just BKBs. He doesn't give a crap if he gets doomed. He's just going to hit Ramses in the face, and all of a sudden that Radiance burn, no damage. The mischance doesn't matter.
Yep.
And as soon as he doesn't die, look at the supports. They're just chilling, maybe in the back line. We don't care if Chalice goes down. Rage is gone. Snowball down. What do they do now? And they nearly kill Ramses as well. If they had landed to kill him, that would have been a huge teamfight win, but still an objective and still a strong showing from LGD. Now they have great vision planted. Roche may respawn in 40 seconds to 3 minutes, 40 seconds. They get next stages, they get BKB, DK, and that's where you go and look to take a fight to win the game. They'll even have a Scotty on Ame finished. How are you going to take him down, Toby?
You simply do not. It's just that straight out. LGD are in the greatest position possible. It almost feels like Virtus.pro's only way to get back into this game is the ability to contest the next Roshan. Make it so LGD cannot have that Aegis and cheese to push the high ground. It's the way it works. First Aegis is all the outer towers finished off. The second Aegis is when you bounce up high ground. But LGD are not even waiting this long. It's a dangerous fight if they lose it, but right now they've got to have the confidence. That's what you need against a team like Virtus.pro. Solo, the man to break the smoke, will get the Hexa, glimpse him back up again. Roger wants to get some shard block just to give some space, but that won't really do enough. Solo's still going to go down. Roger revealed his position, trying to save him, and now Virtus.pro, well, they're not really under their own vision just yet. That observer ward. LGD stay in the lane. Remember, they just want to push if they can.
How do you, like, do you see they just drop all these spells on the ground? How, it's easy to not stand in fire, well, for some people, but how do you not stand in a bramble maze, the field, the pit? VP has to just ignore a massive choke point if they want to actually enter the fight, and they have 4 melee heroes and a lion.
Well, they may have one less hero soon. No, Roger. There was no follow-up. Ame did burn the Metamorphosis previously. May not be too happy about the timing for it. Actually, yeah, he will. Like, he'll have it on cooldown for 50 seconds after Roshan spawns. And Virtus.pro know that Roshan could be up pretty soon. Yep. Great sentry wards from BP. They've actually de-warded 2 observer wards and make that 3 observer wards in just the last minute alone. So LGD's vision on the map is now totally dark. This is actually the first time I actually feel like Virtus.pro have some level of advantage just for the fact they've cleaned up so much of the vision, which is irreplaceable for LGD.
And it's just getting a kill on honestly any hero in LGD's lineup is going to be huge for VP. The Frost Armor from Doom is really big, especially when you put it on Lifestealer, because he's now able to just kind of fight up against the Terrorblade. He has 28 armor and a Solar Crest, so he has tons of evasion. And he'll actually survive and outlast through the fights. They get this BKB on Tiny. Maybe they kill the Disruptor. Maybe they kill the Willow. And all of a sudden, the chasing power from LGD isn't really there. They can be the ones kiting the big cooldowns, the BKBs, and then fighting with tossbacks, with Lion control. It's just taking out the supports and maybe 1 core with the Doom.
Roshan is alive, but 3 fresh items for Virtus.pro. Double Blink, 1 BKB. Is now available. They're coming out in the Courier, so they're not armed just yet.
DD bottom too if they see it. Pasha had vision but wasn't looking.
Well, no one's going to be in the neighborhood, so maybe he'll have a... Yeah, he does. Double damage now in for Tiny. But the only way that's going to work is if it's Virtus.pro who are the instigators of the fight. No one shows his DD.
Blink up on Pasha as well. He opted to go for the casual plate mail. Was thinking about BKB, but I agree. I think he needs a blink. You want to just delete someone from the game before BKB.
They're baiting so hard right now. The wall, the storm, it caught Ramses, but Blink in Snowball. The save is up for the moment. Lion gets destroyed. No one goes for his jump in with the BKB. Needs a swing, needs a ding. Charles is dropping quickly. Ramses with the open wounds. They have managed to get it. A 1-for-1 trade-off with the big storm gone. Thomas's BKB is what's allowing him to stand. They'll flip him with the Tuskar punch, but Roger locked inside the trees. Nowhere to go. Pasha's now starting his run in, but what's he really got? Not enough life. He needs more help, and he's got it. Here comes Virtus.pro on the rampage. Arme's Thunder timing is ready, and he's managed to swap, but not for enough life. Pasha, he'll die in the back lines thanks to X-Nova, but they're not giving up. VP once more. Ramsey's open wounds available, so is the Rage. He only needs one of these abilities to bring down another hero from LGD. A huge fight considering the lead that LGD had.
They just misplayed, Toby. Ame took himself out of the fight. He didn't get meta off before being doomed. Then runs in. He sundered the Doom there at the end. And the Terrorize completely missed. He tried to overlap on top of the Snowball, but ends up just missing it completely. And all of a sudden, VP crushes through the fight. And that's why they're machines, because they're not going to make those mistakes.
And now they can take Roshan potentially. You know LGD cannot allow this. Rams and no one are not the most healthiest people at the moment. And they need more assistance.
They used meta there too. Like now they don't have the ability to fight for Roche immediately with Doom on cooldown. And that was great initiation too. They got the Lion at the start of the fight. They just,
Thomnus is walking into the pit. They'll have a look. They realize Roshan is alive and no one from Virtus.pro is trying to kill it off.
And that fight changes everything. Here's the replay. So you can see the Lion, he's going to get caught. There's a nice kinetic field storm. They slow down Ramses. Lion just dies. Here comes huge initiation. He gets the BKB off, but he doesn't meta. So now he has to just back away. Ami takes himself all the way back to nearly the tier 2. They ditched the Underlord in the meantime. The Terrorize, as you saw, had whiffed, and there was still a DD on Tiny. But look at where Willow and Terrorblade are. Now they're going to run all the way back into the fight. But again, there's no meta. Roger saves himself with the snowball. Here comes no one. Infested by Ramses. They're waiting, they're waiting, they're waiting. Immediately they kill the Dragon Knight. Roger, and now Ame, he decides to meta. But look at this. Look at the setup. There's no ult on the Willow. No spells left on FY. They're creeps. Yep. Ame Sunder's wrong target. He's probably dead anyway. And they can't kill Ramses now. This next fight is everything.
Cannot believe how hard this has turned around. You want to look at that graph and watch the dip. Virtus.pro are going to make it a little bit more. Virtus.pro, for the first time in this game, hold the experience advantage, and they're looking for more. Xnova in the tree line, starts to terrorize, gets 2 of them to run away. But then again, Roger, no, he's not close enough. They lock him in with the Cursed Crown to the Bramble. Virtus.pro's smoke will not be successful, but they're looking towards Roshan. Terrorize on cooldown for over a minute.
It's still so hard. I don't think you can fight in a choke point.
LGD's coming out for the fight. They're smoked up. Yeah. They're looking for the opportunity.
Oh, another DD.
Pasha, really, really close, looking to break it onto Xnova. He's the closest one to him, but they're in the trees, hiding. Solo breaks off, looks for the invis, and then maybe with the DK. Yes, yes, yes! The damage is there from LGD! But Virtus.pro into the back lines. No one and Ramses working together. Arme needs to go down under that Doombringer. Pasha on the money once more. Chalice starting to do his little way out. We're taking Stomnus along with him all the way back home for regeneration. Virtus.pro, they buy back doubly. They want this Roshan so bad.
Yeah, and there's no way that LGD can test this.
They got no buybacks themselves.
Yeah. And we see right there the power of Doom against Terrorblade. Ame gets the meta off this time, but he's just deleted. There's a DD Tiny, a Lifestealer hitting you, like you're just dead. He finished the Scotty for that fight too, but it just didn't even matter.
So how do they keep that Terrorblade alive next fight? We've seen 2 of them now happen where he gets doomed both times. The first time was a blink reveal from Pasha. The second time, you knew it was coming, and they couldn't avoid it.
You need to go in deeper with the Underlord DK and identify the cores, because all no one is doing is waiting on the side. As soon as the Doom goes out, he's blinking in. They need to find a way to disrupt the initiation of VP, because I don't know how, like a proper analogy, but they got to be Triceratops. That's my favorite, all right? They can't let VP get to the little guys inside the circle. You got to just posture around, protect your TB, protect your supports, and for the love of God, you got to stop whiffing Terrorize. Like, I like that they use it there, but that's the sort of fight you want to take if you're LGD. Let the smoke pop, let them go for your Underlord and your DK, but at this point, this is where VP's draft just gets scary, because there's no counterplay to this Doom. Ramses has the Aegis. He's going for a Maelstrom now. He'll be finishing Mjolnir in just a second.
He's going to clean through every single illusion that Terrorblade can create. Lion was already making that problematic to start with. But now Solo is that instant disable that Virtus.pro have available. He's finished up a Blink Dagger, can just blink into Hex, into the Earth Spike. Now Virtus.pro, like, they kind of had it as well with the Tuskar blink into Walrus Punch. But there's just so many options for VP to fight. Their cores are so much bigger. These BKBs are allowing no one to fight very comfortably, but now there's also one over on Pasha. He can freely walk around in the team fights too.
I mean, you can see there, they did die on both supports, but the key was they provided vision and they forced spells. And all of a sudden, everyone's looking at the Tusk and the Lion screaming, kill them, kill them, kill them. They die without getting spells off, but then there's suddenly 3 cores of VP wreaking havoc. And I'm not actually sure how you play around that at this point, especially considering there's an Aegis on the Lifestealer.
It's that thing we've talked about with Virtus.pro many, many times. It's the sacrifice they are always willing to make, and it's always the supports. Roger and Solo will fall on the enemy's swords just to create that space. Ramses will take the tier 2 tower on bottom lane, straight TP up towards top to complete up both his Mjolnir as well as to just mop up the wave. The last remaining outer tower for LGD is the top. And then we've evened it up as far as buildings.
Yeah. I almost want to see the Terrorblade go for a Linken's here over an MKB, but the thing is he needs both items. They have no cancel for his Linken's through BKB, but I'm sure Pasha would just get a troll creep, and then all of a sudden you can net and then Doom. but at least then they wouldn't have ice armor. They've been playing this entire game as if they had a Lich behind them.
X-Nova was so lucky there. Tiny saw him, but it's a little too late, so he started to swing attack as opposed to get the stun off. But the pressure is coming through the top. Remember, you still do not want to fight if you're LGD. That's an Aegis Immortal Ramses. They want to fight from inside their base only.
VP doing all the little things right. They pick up a gem on Roger. He's running around with the sigil, just de-warding everything. No wards up for LGD at the moment. Blink on both supports for VP. Ramsey's cutting mid-wave as his team pushes top tower. They have 2 minutes on Aegis, and I don't think VP is a lot like LGD in that they would squander an Aegis. I think they go high ground with this 100%.
Oh, well, they're almost fully there. However, Lifesteal, what you said, you go high ground. Ramses is sort of alone.
Yep.
No one was a little bit further back, so it was Solo, and Tusker's not even there. They're going to glimpse him in, and of course,
yep. They get the DK form.
Infest to dodge. Didn't have Rage available, so he just jumps inside the Tiny.
And that's something that not many carry players do, and no one does as effectively as Ramses. Just manning up, using his spells, and making the enemy team respond to what he's doing. It's just, it's confidence. There's no really other way to put it. And it's not, maybe he dies there if LGD is prepared, but all of a sudden there's a lifesteal in your base. Okay, we'll use our spells. Wait, can we kill him? Let's form. And then all of a sudden he's just dodging the glimpse. Now they wait out the DK form. They still have 1 minute on Aegis, and I'm sure they're going to use it. 10k ahead as well.
They don't have the Doombringer with them. Like, Doom just TP'd down to the bottom lane, so it looks like they're not going to go in. They're just trying to keep LGD inside their base and efficiently farm up. But what are they looking for? Like, the Assault Cuirass is arriving quickly in for a Tiny. Lifesteal is now at 3.7k gold. Nothing in the quick buy for Ramses.
The Shiva's on Doom. He's about to purchase it right now to go with the BKB. Now he'll have a huge vision advantage when they just blink in. Slows the supports.
Oh, there's your jump once more. Ramses on the edge of that Aegis. He still kind of wants to die, but he also wants to bring down this tower. He did a couple of abilities. Ramses, I'm going to glimpse him back once more, but Rage is available this time around.
You got to be really careful. If he dies without Rage, he can just get Disruptor ulted, and then all of a sudden he's dead again. So very good play from Ramses. They're not going to utilize this Aegis, but I don't know if they mind. They've got a huge advantage over the last couple of minutes just by keeping LGD in their base. You can play for third Roche, or you can start utilizing the double runes that are about to start spawning. Arcane rune now on Ramses. And you also will keep scaling. Pasha went the Devour bonus gold talent. So every time he eats a creep, he gets 250 bonus gold. That's a 40-second cooldown. He will scale. Tiny's not having any issues. And all of a sudden, Ramses, he's almost 5,000 gold ahead of Ame's Terrorblade.
Pasha doesn't even, like, scaling is one thing, but having double Doom in the fight,
yeah.
Like, Pasha's already been so effective with the first Doom. With that, with like Lincoln Sphere, there's, like, then again, like Dooms have also been picking up like the Dark Troll summoners, like just these, like you just trap the pop the Lincolns to get their ulti off.
And I think if LGD reviews this replay, they're still not out of it yet. There's always a Terrorblade.
Yep.
You can always get up to maybe a Rapier at some point, but that decision to not utilize the first Aegis to gain more of an advantage, to not necessarily go high ground, but to at least force a fight and do what VP has done so effectively over the last 5 minutes, where they've kept them corralled and not allowed them to accelerate, whereas they can still play 3 lanes, they farm woods, and the passive income of Doom just, it continues to add up.
So LGD, like, they have to look for something. Right now, we're just watching them run around as 5 inside of their own jungle. This is a safe way to play, but it's not going to be a way to win. So, where is the target? Do you just wait for Roshan? He could spawn up in a minute and a half's time. So this is a possibility for them. But that's a long time to wait, and VP will just continue to get stronger and stronger. There's no one's Assault Cuirass now completed too. So they have both Shivas and AC for Virtus.pro. You'll have a Lotus Orb as well for the Tusker. The armor is going through the roof.
Yeah. And they also have a Lich armor.
Yep.
It's 8 armor from that Ogre, a move and attack slow.
And no one's currently sitting at 43 armor.
Yep.
Not too shabby.
It's really difficult. And LGD just consistently playing on the back foot. And when you're playing against a team like VP, really, there is no team like VP. When you play them, and you're in this position, it almost feels inevitable that the juggernaut, the Russians, will just grind you down and take the win.
Well, they're coming once more. An Invis rune as well to be picked up if they want it. For now, they stay under the cover of smoke.
Look at the wards they have set up. It's a beautiful smoke. They have 2 wards, one on the high ground top, another one just scouting out the entire LGD team.
Thanks to that Observer and Sentry, however, LGD, they can see Solo for a split second. They jump in, but Solo also initiates Pasha into the backline. He did it again. He got the Doom on the frickin' Terrorblade. What can he do apart from be pulled out? There's your save. That's the way to disengage. Chalice pulls everyone home with the Dark Rift.
It's a huge play. If they get a lucky Roche spawn now, we'll see in just 2 seconds.
Yeah, what is that timer? It's a long spawn,
no.
2 minutes and 45 seconds. But LGD, they're not waiting. They're coming out. They were just out of range of both of the Dire Observer wards when they smoked up. So they'll instantly be thinking that Virtus.pro is in Roshan. Not the case.
They have the MKB on the Terrorblade as well. His damage output will be significantly increased, but at the same time, they just have so much armor on VP.
Look at him fighting the window. These blinks away so quick from Solo. Virtus.pro are in retreat without the Doom. They cannot control the Terrorblade as well as they have done previously, so they don't want to take this fight. So they put the protection. The Lincoln's over on No One, glimpsing him, trying to pull him back. He still has BKB available. No One gets a double avalanche. Ramses beating into Ame. Ame can swap the life, but not quick enough. He has some life available, but currently Frogs can't kill either. Chalice on the retreat away. Arme just being chased down by Ramses. This is primary target number 1, and Ramses has done it. He's taken 1, almost took 2 with the lightning damage into FY. Avalanche will buy him more time, toss him in deeper. Somers controlled the back line, but it's only Solo he could potentially kill. The Doom may have died, but there's control from the high ground. Xnova's trying to do the best he can. Roger snowballs onto it just for pure style, giving Ramses a triple kill out of this fight. Roger will go down to Ame, but everyone else is out. Everyone else has managed to escape.
And this lifesteal, Ramses is just
He's a beast.
Unstoppable. The Rage talent, level 25. He has an 8-second BKB effectively on a 16-second cooldown, and with that Arcane Rune, it's now 11 seconds. Like, he is BKB'd for half of the fight, and Ame, he hit him like 4 times, realized, wait, I'm not doing anything, and just got chased down.
Oh, he's found another target.
Die.
FY inside the tree line. Ame, he's actually going to Sunder to try and save FY. That's optimistic. Ramses will now go high ground. He knows Ame is weak. Ame actually has to run all the way back to base. And yeah, Ramses is alone. The Doom is back next to their secret shop. The Tiny's only moving down from the Radiant secret shop, and he's just doing it all solo. My lord, Ramses. He was waiting for his power spike time. That one bad fight that LGD took in the mid lane is going to haunt them. And look at Ramses, he's just turning around. He knows he can go for more. Infest is off cooldown, 8 seconds time, but maybe VP is like, let's just chill. Roshan is coming very soon.
This is what separates them from Russian teams of the past, right? Where they have the measured aggression. Ramses plays completely alone, kills the tier 3, but it sets them up. Look at the wards Solo got to place in the meantime. Wards everywhere. 4 wards up right now in this triangle where the shrine used to be, and now Roche spawns. All of a sudden, if you're LGD, you have to play scared. You don't have meta, and you have no idea where VP is, and they might see you at all times.
I don't think you have a choice. Like, meta's up in 15 seconds time. They have to be prepared around Roshan. As you mentioned, that vision game, the 3 Observer wards, unless you have a Gem of True Sight over on LGD, actually, they do. They have one on the Dark Willow. They have to get rid of that vision.
Ramses selling his boots, now has a nullifier, completely 6-slotted.
They have to fight this. LGD have no choice. They cannot allow a refresher shot as well to get into Virtus.pro. But they're not in position. The Creepway's pushing in through the bottom. Disrupt is still on the way. He's going to be too late. Roshan is dying so quickly. Somnus, he's in the front of the pit. Can they actually terrorize them out? The root is down. Tiny lock, but Roshan, 400, 300, 200 HP. Aegis and Immortal, it's in the hands of Ramses. Chalice trying to bring everybody out with the Dark Rift. A quick force off. He may live long enough. And he does. They come home. Not all of them, however. FY starts the TP. He's rooted up, but Solo so quick. Blink Hex. This will cancel it out. And FY goes to Ramses. 9-1-7 on this lifestealer now. Plus the Aegis, Refresher Shard, and Cheese. A little bit greedy, Ramses. Share or share alike?
Just unbelievable. Like, this game has gone on for so long. Been back and forth. Then you look at VP's 2 cores. Ramses and No One. 1 death apiece. they play near flawlessly, and you don't even notice to talk about it.
Here comes Ramses. He has passed off the cheese for Refresher Shot. Refresher Shot's in the back of the Doombringer. Jumping in. He doesn't let the ulti go yet. He has to use a Refresher Shot. Now he does. And they have the BKB to protect. The buyback comes in from DK. Mid-ranks under siege. Blink in for the Dragon Tail stun. They're trying to kill off this lifesteal. Remember, he's only got the Aegis more to burn through, and another Doom. Arme, time and time again, he gets caught by this, but with no buyback on the Terrorblade, there is no damage. There is no hope. Virtus.pro are pitching a flag right now in the middle of LGD's base. They'll take the mid-ranks, but you know they want to take a lot more. They've got the buyback coming thick and fast. X-Nova, well, he'll have to disappear again into that Shadow Realm. Virtus.pro just want the jump. They can't get it just yet. No, they can. Chalice comes a little bit too close, and GG, well played. Virtus.pro is 22-22 on the kill. Is that where we actually get to stop when the GG comes through? It doesn't matter. 23 to LGD, but Virtus.pro take game 1 of this best of 3 lower bracket final.
Man, if LGD can't win that game, I'm not sure how they win a game. And just a dominating performance, I think, specifically from Ramses, but really from the whole team. They found their opportunities. A couple, not even huge mistakes necessarily, but...
Usher applause to the crowd, but this crowd is stunned.
And oh man.
LGD, like, I still think they can win. Like, they have to understand it, though. Like, Virtus.pro, they delayed it, right? Like, they knew their timings for it.
Yeah.
Okay, we just waited out. Rames goes for the Radiance. He'll be able to catch up. Everyone's going to get their critical items. Supports keep dying. It's the story of Virtus.pro. It's the sacrifice that you know you should make because it's going to create the space. The always rotations, what Mineski have done so well during this competition as well. Great rotations. What they need to win.
Look at how they use their Aegises. When VP has one, LGD is in the base. When LGD had that first Aegis, VP's still farming. They're still dominating. Not dominating, but they're on the map.
Yeah.
They're not just losing. And
well, game 1 great for Virtus.pro. LGD, can you keep that presence up and give us a game 3? Please, 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 please. We want more Dota.
You can never have too much Dota, that's for sure. Thanks very much, Toby1. And Kyle, of course, will come back to them in the arena for game number 2 and potentially game number 3 if we get that far. And on the basis of game 1, perhaps we won't. Our panel are ready to break things down. We'll start with Blitzes. You said to me walking back, you can't make mistakes like that.
Yeah, you can't make mistakes like that against VP. They had such a good lead. At first, we were like, were we wrong about our prediction? And then VP's like, no, don't worry, guys. We got this.
We'll bail you out on this one. This one's on us. It's okay.
That's why it's like sometimes the predictions, they're a bit weird. Because I still think that LGD should have won, even though I thought that VP was going to win. But they did not.
Yeah, I mean, they had the early lead. You have a Lifestealer who goes for a Radiant, so he's not going to come online that quickly. You have both supports who are level 5, 14 minutes in. You have a Doom who was pretty much shut down, so you can't fight. But this just sums up how good VP are. Even after that Aegis lost, they still managed to take a fight. I was like, yeah, this fight is lost. Then suddenly, they pop Lifestealer hopping from the Tiny, and they just blow up Terrorblade. I think maybe the lack of items on Terrorblade, if they had, let's say, a Linken's and Lotus Orb earlier on Underlord, I don't even know if he finished it.
Yeah, I think his decision to go for the BKB into the Scotty, it wasn't really like that he lacked damage. It was that he couldn't protect himself in these engagements.
He saw a big puff at the cheeks there from no one. That was in the early game, and he must have thought, this one's getting away from us.
Yeah, I think a big part of it comes down to the initial laning phase, and there was a big difference between our 2 off lanes, right, where the Lifestealer Lion just struggled to be able to actually kill the Underlord. Maybe they killed him once thanks to a Tusk rotation, but in general, Chalice was able to get a lot more farm out of that, while the Doom had such a hard time in the off lane. And that sort of laning phase start really changes things for VP, because heroes naturally like Tiny and the Lifestealer, they have they're going to run out of damage against a slight lead, right? If they don't have a lead or the game's not even, if it's actually LGD who are up by a bit, then they just struggle to actually be able to find kills. And so a lot of the early game was just all LGD because they were just able to bundle up as 5, and they do have much better team fight when they are 5-man in that 20-minute, especially with the lead that they had. So it just felt like Virtus.pro could not really get on top of these heroes, but they kept trying, and eventually they did find that one team fight that really changed the game for them.
Yeah, let me sum up this game for you. Analyze. Virtus.pro is just too good, period.
Yeah.
I have to say to you, Therese, I don't know how you feel about this, but whenever I watch Lifestealer in a game, I'm just like, oh god, it's such a boring hero. Please don't. I just don't like watching it. When Ramses plays it though, I'm just like, holy Moses, this is so good. Like he just makes that hero.
Yeah, he knows.
He's so aggressive with it, and he just doesn't care about the stuff that's going on. You've got illusions hitting him in the base. Like, I don't care about that stuff. I'm just going to go for kills.
Yeah, he knows how to make open wounds really work for him. Like, he doesn't just use it as a slow, he uses it as its turnaround potential. We saw it yesterday because oftentimes in Dota, when you're down 3-on-5 in a fight, you run. The team with 3 is like, okay, well, we lost this fight. But because they keep drafting this, like, tanky tri-core, it doesn't really matter if Solo and Roger get popped early. How many times do we see a start where Solo just gets stunned by DK, he dies in 2 seconds, Roger follows the same fate, and then the 3 cores just run them over. And that's what we were talking about when we felt like LGD's draft sort of lacked damage because they couldn't stop those 3 cores from just getting on top of them.
Yep, Rams is 10-1-10 and 35.4k damage in that game.
Absolutely the MVP.
That's
that's an extraordinary result, it really is. Yeah, there's no argument for MVP, is there?
No, I don't think so. Well, apparently production has some argument with it.
We'll change that.
Could
It's
they
fine.
flash?
They threw up no one.
They're
like, this guy gets the MVP all the time. They're like, all right, hit the no one button,
exactly.
guys.
It's okay.
This time around, it is going to be Ramses.
It's fine. There is a button in production which they just press that says no one MVP, and the reason for that is that usually
it's
he
usually
is.
the case.
But this time around, Ramses having an absolutely incredible game on the Lifestealer.
He knows how to fully utilize the hero. And also Doom is one of the better heroes against Underlord, and you have this tanky Dragon Knight in the front lines with his Infernal Blade. He deals a ton of damage, and the Lifestealer is also really, really good against the tanky cores. So we sometimes we don't talk about the buybacks. Like you commit to, let's say you killed Solo, they killed Roger, then they just buy back because they have really low net worth and they can easily buy back. And let's say Dragon Knight popped the BKB just to kill him, duration is gone, then they can easily take a fight. So this is one of the biggest things in this current patch, the buybacks.
Yeah, we have spoken about it, I think, a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. It's definitely one of those pivotal points in the game. Talking of which, we're going to head to a break right now. When we come back, Game 2's draft will be upon us. Virtus.pro continue on their way through the lower bracket. Who knew they were that good? I think we probably did. We'll see how they get on in Game 2 very shortly as LGD cling to China Major hopes. We'll see you soon.